It's time to redeem myself. It is chop time. Just bring it. You asked for it. Give it your best shot, man. Come on, you punk.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Go on. And the last one. Just bring it. Come. Hey! Just brought it.
Welcome to another episode of Last Man Standing. As always, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you like this video, do give us a thumbs up. And now today we're going to discuss and review Fight for the Fallen, or as Jim Ross called it at the top of the show, Fight Fest. That was last week, Jim. Last week. And we begin the show with the TNT Championship defense as Cody Rhodes was going to defend against Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss comes out with this cheerleader, nice, entrance with a lot of pizzazz, and he enters and the match starts. Cody hits him with a pump kick, immediately puts the pressure on Sonny Kiss, but Sonny Kiss turns it around and gives him a crossroads and gives him a nice flip and gets a near fall. And Arn Anderson is just eating into Cody Rhodes' ear and just showing him some tough love and telling him to take it seriously. And Cody Rhodes does that. He gives Sonny Kiss a Alabama slam outside and puts out all this offense, and Sonny Kiss kicks out. Like, Cody Rhodes can't put Sonny Kiss away. And then Cody Rhodes exposes the turnbuckle, which is an overtly heelish thing to do. And Sonny Kiss turns it around and gets a near fall, almost a 3 count. But then Cody Rhodes gives Sonny Kiss the crossroads and finishes Sonny Kiss and retains the TNT Championship. This was a nice back and forth match. It enhanced both characters, and we can see that Cody Rhodes might be turning heel, which I am pumped for. And we even saw Tully Blanchard there observing Cody Rhodes, and this could be a bit of a 4 horsemen sort of a tease. But overall, we would like to give this match a 3 out of 5 stars.
And for those of you who do not know who 4 Horsemen are, it is a group back in WCW with Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ole Anderson and Ric Flair. And even Chris Benoit was a part of it much later, but it was a very legendary group, which is, it's rumored that they might come back on AEW. And we move on to the second match of the night, which was FTR versus the Lucha Bros. Now, this is going to be a crazy tag team match. We all knew that because it's the first time these 2 tag teams are meeting. And when the Lucha Bros came out, they came out with the Butcher and the Blade in the truck of FTR. Like, they were trying to flaunt that they still have that truck. And it started out as a good match, and the main thing is that these 2 teams are vastly different. FTR is a more groundbreaking, ground and pound kind of traditional tag team, and Lucha Bros are the kind of tag team that they break all the rules, they're high flying, they take so many risks, and it was for that reason alone it would have been an exciting match. And it was because Dash Wilder picked up the victory by removing the mask of Rey Fenix and rolling him up, and this would have been a disqualification in Lucha Libre, but alas, we're in AEW, so they played a little dirty as well and got the victory over Lucha Bros, a much deserved victory, and redeeming themselves from the last time that they lost to Lucha Bros when they teamed up with the Bucks. But after the match, Butcher and the Blade were taunting FTR with the truck keys that they had, and the Young Bucks came out and super kicked them, took those keys, gave them to FTR, and they wanted to make up for the the loss that they took last week when they super kicked Dash Wilder and cost them the match against Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade. And Kenny Omega also came out with a bucket of beers as a peace offering because when he was offered beers from FTR, he kind of poured it out and they got pissed for some reason, and as a return they emptied the same beer that Kenny Omega gave them on Kenny's head. Like, what the hell? Why? That was uncalled for. I thought that was uncalled for, and definitely Kenny also thought that, and he was pissed off, and my brother's going to tell you how this escalated in the next match.
And we would like to give this match a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a great tag team match all around, and both teams did deliver. So 3 out of 5. And now we're going to see the Elite finally coming together after 6 months. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks taking on Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. And this match was quite interesting because Kenny Omega was not taking this match seriously. He was not taking Marco Stunt seriously. He still had his t-shirt on. And the opening exchanges was actually won by Marco Stunt. And finally Kenny Omega ripped his t-shirt off and started giving a vicious beatdown on Marco Stunt. And the Young Bucks got involved with their super kicks. And finally, in the middle of the match, you saw like a crazy Canadian destroyer that Marco Stunt delivered on Matt Jackson. It was a great heavy spot. But then you saw Kenny Omega kind of take control and put a vicious beat down on Luchasaurus, gave him the V trigger, and then finally put Marco Stunt away with the one-winged angel. But after the match, Kenny Omega laid in vicious blows to Marco Stunt's head, and Kenny Omega never does that. He's too nice a guy. Like, he's super competitive, but he's too nice. And he just laid blows on Marco Stunt, saying that he almost killed Matt Jackson. Like, it was very unsportsmanlike, and we might be seeing a beautiful heel turn, and we will finally see the cleaner persona by Kenny Omega. And this persona was actually what he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he was a wrestling god. He was untouchable. He had this aura about him that he is the best wrestler. And he was a beautiful heel. He was the leader of the Bullet Club. He was great on the mic and nobody could touch him. And that is the Kenny Omega that we're going to see in AEW. So I am pumped. 2 heel turns. This match gets a 3 out of 5 star. Incredible storytelling. I'm happy.
So the next segment involved Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle, and they came out to tell us about the ratings war and the demographics. So basically, as we know, WWE, NXT and AEW have been having ratings war on Wednesday nights, and while Fyter Fest was going on over the 2 weeks at AEW, there was a Great American Bash going on at WWE, and they actually won the ratings war overall in those 2 weeks. But in the key demographics, which is 18 to 49 years, AEW did better. So that's what Le Champion Chris Jericho came out to tell the crowd, that the key demographics had tuned in to watch Le Champion, and he called himself the demo god, and now they're going to be t-shirts. I mean, this guy can sell ice to an Eskimo. He's too good at these promos, and besides educating us about this, he came out to say that he will never have a rematch with Orange Cassidy, even though it was one of the best matches of his career in recent history. He's just happy that he beat Orange Cassidy, and he just wants to get on with it now and move on in his chapters at AEW. But Orange Cassidy came out from the crowd and pointed at him like with his signature thumbs up, and then he gave him a thumbs down, and Chris Jericho was like, what the hell is going on? And it rained down a gallon of orange juice all over the Inner Circle, and we saw Ortiz kind of taking bumps in the orange juice, and Jericho in his white coat just supremely pissed off about this situation, and he was shouting, Cassidy! Cassidy! It was just too funny. He got thrown a towel to wipe himself, and that had Orange Cassidy's face on it. So I mean, it just salt to the wounds clearly. And then he joined commentary with with JR and Excalibur, and he just ranted completely. And he's like, "There's definitely going to be a rematch between him and Cassidy." And Cassidy basically did the job to push him enough to give him that rematch. The next match was between the Nightmare Sisters and 2 jobbers who we do not know the names of. So the Nightmare Sister, I mean, it's a good gimmick that's happening. I mean, we're seeing a different side of Ali, who was Bunny in Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny, and now she's trying to seduce QD Marshall and trying to get into the Nightmare family, it seems. And Dustin Rhodes, out of all of them, is not very not very sure about her, because there is some mystique about her character. And she tried to pay homage to him by doing his uppercut in that match, and they get with her finisher, which is like an inverted crossroads. So I mean, she's trying her best to get into the Nightmare family, and it was a squash match at the end of it, and we give this match a 2.5 out of 5. But yeah, the Nightmare Sisters winning, and it's interesting to see where this storyline goes.
And then we see Nyla Rose coming out, and we're going to get to know who her manager is, and it is none other.
Excuse me!
Vicky Guerrero, you got that right. It's Vicky Guerrero. Excuse me. And she comes out and she puts a promo saying that as and when we are ready, we're going to take that women's championship. And she put the women's division on notice that Nyla Rose is here to take what she wants. And Vicky Guerrero is a great addition to the women's division. It is lacking star power, so Vicky Guerrero definitely brings that. And I'm interested to see where this pairing goes because Nyla Rose can talk. So we'll see. I mean, Vicky Guerrero is definitely a great addition to the women's division. And now it's time for the main event of the evening, where we saw Brian Cage challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And before the match started, we saw a promo that Jon Moxley cut where he said that he was going to target the surgically repaired bicep of Brian Cage. And both men made the entrance and it was a brawl from the start. Jon Moxley just focused on that bicep. Brian Cage used his athleticism and his power to his advantage. He gave him a German suplex out on the guardrail, and Jon Moxley got up and still focused his attack on the bicep. Brian Cage is so athletic. It reminds me of a younger Samoa Joe who can do amazing things for a man his size. Flips, power game, he has it all. And the match is going really well, and then Jon Moxley put Brian Cage in an armbar and it was really like wrenching. And at the same time, he was flipping Taz off. And it looked like he was going to rip that arm out of his socket. And Taz was like panicking. He didn't know what to do. So he threw in the towel, thereby making Jon Moxley retain his AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And we were shocked at what we were watching. And the night went from bad to worse for Brian Cage because the lights went off. And when they came on, Darby Allin came and hit him with his skateboard. And we were like, what is this booking? You have clearly stopped any momentum that Brian Cage had.
Yeah, you've basically stopped the path of Cage. And who can stop the path of Cage is in his title song, and that's been answered. That's apparently Jon Moxley. We were really not happy with this booking because AEW have done this repeatedly now. The fourth big, monster kind of superstar whose momentum has been kind of stopped because it started with Jake Hager, who didn't really get a good enough push. Then it went down to Lance Archer when he lost to Cody. He was all distraught and so his path was completely lost. Brody Lee lost to Jon Moxley, and that was a good match, but even after that he was kind of lost until he found the Colt Cabana storyline. And now it's Brian Cage. I mean, now Brian Cage is obviously going to shift his attention to Darby Allin and probably even challenge him for the FTW championship, who knows. But we know that, I know that I want to see Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley too, because this match was not given a good enough build. Like that interview about Jon Moxley pulling his arm out came 1 hour before the match, because Jon Moxley wasn't available because he was suffering from COVID symptoms throughout the build up of this match. But it seemed very forced. Taz throwing in his signature towel, he's the one who trash talked the whole time, and he's the one who's probably fair decision. But I know that we're watching wrestling, but it needs to still be a little real. It needs to be believable, because Brian Cage, man of his size, he can take on Jon Moxley with one arm. No kidding, man.
Yeah, he could destroy him. He could rip him in half if he wanted to. So, and they booked Jon Moxley too strong. He didn't even break a sweat while battling Brian Cage. It didn't make any sense whatsoever to keep Jon Moxley that strong.
Yeah, it could have been a double DQ.
Yeah.
It could have been anything, but the way he won, it was just not very good.
You could have protected Brian Cage. So just because of this, this finish left a bad taste in our mouth. I'm still pissed off about it a week later. So we're going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. And just because the main event did not live up to the hype just because of the ending. So I hope they fix this problem that they have with bogus main events. Just fix it.
So that's it for our review of Fight for the Fallen. Overall, we give this pay-per-view a 3 out of 5. And next week we will be bringing you the fallout from Fight for the Fallen, which will take place on AEW Dynamite. So stay tuned for that. And as always, like, share, comment on our videos, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you like that video, hit the subscribe button.
And to know everything about All Elite Wrestling, you know who to call. We're the last man standing, and we'll see you.